Hello, and welcome to the Schizoaffective Diaries. My name is Daisy, and I have schizoaffective disorder. Schizoaffective disorder is a serious mental illness characterized by symptoms of both schizophrenia, such as paranoia, delusions, and hallucinations, and a mood disorder, either major depressive disorder or, in my case, bipolar disorder. Today, I am going to talk about something a little bit difficult for me because difficult in that it brings me back to a much harder time in my life, but it's also a video I really wish had existed when I needed it. I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder about 12 years ago when I was 18 years old. I had just turned 18. Even thinking about it, oh my goodness, thinking about being back there in that time as an 18-year-old, freshly out of high school, and boy, was I struggling. It was a really hard time. It'd been a hard few years, and I had been undiagnosed, unmedicated. I had not been receiving any mental health treatment, and I had been suffering from this disorder on my own for the most part. Today, I want to talk about and talk to specifically people who are at that point. If you have been recently diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, this video is for you. So I have my iPad here. I made a list of things that I want to talk about. So I'll be looking down a little bit. I'm going to try not to just read it, but I wanted to make sure I didn't forget anything. There's a lot I want to say. So if whether you're here as someone who has been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder or someone with another mental health condition, I think this could apply to many different situations in mental health disorders, or whether you're here as someone who loves someone who has recently been diagnosed. I hope you find something that is of value to you. And the main thing I want to convey, I'll start with this, is that you're not alone. Whether you have something, you've been diagnosed with something, whether you love someone in your life who is going through this process, this affects you too, you are not alone. I promise. I thought I was alone for years. And if I've learned anything over the past 12 years since diagnosis, it has been there are people who get it. There are people who absolutely understand how difficult it is to live with this thing. So yeah, let's start. Here's the list of things that I wish I had known when I was first diagnosed, and I'm going to pass them on to you. Number one is number one is to allow yourself the space and the grace to slowly process what this disorder means for you and for your life. This is a serious mental health condition. It is. And to be perfectly frank, it is not fair. It's not fair to have it. It's not something that you ask for. It's not something that, in my case, like I believed I had done to myself. Um, it's at least for what we understand in psychology now, it is a combination of genetics and environmental factors. It's something that happens, and it's not your fault. It can be really scary to receive this diagnosis, especially if you've not been diagnosed with any other mental health conditions before. It's a new world to navigate. And so it can feel isolating, it can feel lonely. And in my case, and maybe in yours, it can be kind of overwhelming. One thing I was really surprised by when I was diagnosed is that at the time, and honestly, even now, there's not that much out there about schizoaffective disorder specifically. I was My psychiatrist at the time was considering schizoaffective disorder or bipolar disorder to diagnose me with. There's a lot of literature, a lot of information out there about bipolar disorder, which I found very helpful because part of the schizoaffective disorder for me is I have symptoms of bipolar disorder as well. I have the mania, I have the depression, hypomania. Those mood fluctuations affect me a lot. But I really wanted more information about schizoaffective disorder specifically. I think we've come a long way in 12 years. I still think it's a pretty little, like, widely, it's not as well known. It's not as well understood. And there's not a lot out there that resonated with me and my experience. And when I found something that did, I clung to it. I was anything online that was whether it was a research paper about schizoaffective disorder, whether it was someone writing on a forum talking about their experience, if it resonated with me, I clung to that like a lifeline. So, yeah, you're probably dealing with a lot of different emotions right now. I personally dealt with feelings of that isolation and that overwhelm, that fear of being diagnosed with something that is difficult and kind of scary. I also had some feelings sometimes of relief almost. I'd been searching for answers for years, and to have an answer, even though it felt kind of like a scary label and something new I was going to have to learn about, there was also a sense of relief to be believed, to have a name for this thing that had impacted my daily life since I was 11 years old. And honestly, since I was even younger than that. You might fluctuate between the two emotions of isolation, overwhelm, those negative type feelings, and then this feeling of relief. You might bounce back and forth. Give yourself the grace and the space to process that. It's it's a lot, and you get to have the space to figure out what it means for you. Okay. The second thing I wish I had known or been told when I was freshly diagnosed was that, once again, you can't do this to yourself. If you've been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, that means you've been experiencing symptoms of schizoaffective disorder. And those symptoms are very hard. I'm just going to be totally just put this out there. If you've been diagnosed with this, you've probably been through hell. It's been a tough road. And I empathize with you. This is kind of a milestone for a lot of people to receive that diagnosis, and then, you have to start coming up with a treatment plan, and all this stuff kind of starts coming your way. Maybe you've been diagnosed after being hospitalized when things, kind of turn to crisis. Either way, you've been through some tough stuff. And I hope that you will give yourself a chance to acknowledge that. You've been through hard stuff. You've been through it. All right. Number 3, this one is super important. As I said, you're going to be making a treatment plan. And my advice to you is to be extremely diligent in implementing that treatment plan. This disorder, I hesitate to say something so bold, but I'm going to say it. In my experience, in the research I've done, in the literature that exists, schizoaffective disorder requires medication for effective treatment. It just does. There are some conditions in mental health that can be managed pretty well with therapy and diligence in other areas. Schizoaffective disorder requires medication. That was something that was really tough for me to accept. I was terrified of taking mental health drugs. I was adamant for years. One of the reasons I didn't seek help professionally or even talk to people I trusted about what was really going on was because I was afraid they were going to put me on medications that were, in my fear, they were going to change my personality. They were going to make me a zombie. They were going to make me too tired to function. They were going to take away whatever it was. Let me tell you, the right medication does none of those things. I have been on, I wrote down this number because I keep forgetting. In the past 12 years, I have been on at least 26 different mental health medications. I will make a video about that at some point. I've tried a lot of medications. I've tried a lot of things. Some of them were immediately like, no, no, go back. Don't take this one. Some of them worked for a while. Some of them were to help with side effects of another medication I was on. I'm not speaking from a lack of experience here. I am speaking as someone who has done the work of trying different things for different amounts of time. The medications I'm on currently are a lifeline for me. I take them every day. I do not skip a day. I used to have an alarm set. If you need to do that, highly recommend. At this point, I've been taking meds for 12 years. I take my meds at the same time every day. Don't need a reminder. I put them in a convenient place in my bathroom so that before I brush my teeth, I take my meds. I have some in the morning too. Here's a little tip for you. I keep my morning medications in a different room so that I don't ever accidentally take the wrong ones at the wrong time. So I've got my morning medication spot, my night medication spot. I take them every day. No excuses. I have never been as functional, as happy, as consistent as I am now. And it's largely, I would say, huge thank you to those medications for helping me get there. Okay. Number 4 kind of goes along with that treatment plan with medications. I highly recommend therapy. Highly. If you can find a therapist, if you have access to that resource, I highly suggest that you utilize that. Some of the greatest things I've ever learned, some of the best turning points in my life came directly from therapy. I would say after medication, therapy is the best thing that I do. I have a therapist that I'll be honest, I adore her, and I see her every single Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I have therapy at the same time. I've been very, very lucky that that is something at this point in my life that I can do. I have access to it. I have the ability to make that happen. And I don't know where I'd be without therapy. Truly, I don't. I um I've learned a lot about myself. I've received a lot of validation. As I said before, this is a really tough thing to live with. And if you've been diagnosed, you have already been living with it. Whether you knew the name for it or not, you've already been doing it. Therapy has taught me to view myself as an individual, as a human being with worth before a human being with a serious mental health condition. That has been invaluable to me. I've learned to increase my confidence and advocate for myself, which you have to do in the mental health system, in the medical system, for me in the United States, yes, you need to advocate for yourself a lot. And a lot of the courage and consistency that I have needed to do those things has come directly from therapy. So, number 5. I would say, is after medication with a psychologist or someone who is not a psychologist, psychiatrist. That's what I'm looking for. After a psychiatrist or someone who is um, able to prescribe mental health medications and monitor you on them. Therapy comes right after that. This is the third one I would say in that line of treatment for me is building a network of safe people. This is not a disorder that you can navigate entirely on your own. That's something I've learned the hard way. And it's something I hope to tell you so you don't have to learn the hard way. You can't do this alone. This is tough. Not gonna lie. Like I said, I keep saying it, but it is. It's a really hard thing to live with. And the right people are going to make all the difference. That includes your treatment team, like a psychiatrist or someone. I don't know. There's a lot of abbreviations or the initialisms for the people who can diagnose and prescribe these medications. That's someone very important. Therapist. And then you have friends and family. I encourage you to reach out to people in your life that you trust, people who you know will be there for you. Let them know what you've been diagnosed with if you feel comfortable, if they're safe enough that you can do that. And talk to them about what it means to you in your life. it will impact them as well. And maybe it already has. And if you can let those people know, it will make all the difference. You'll have people to reach out to when you need it. You'll have people who can check on you. You'll have people who know what medications you're on, even. So if something happens or someone needs to know what meds you're on, it's just good to have this network of people. No one is an island. And people who care about you, who love you, who are there for you will make like just the biggest difference in your functioning, in your happiness and your stability. So, I also wrote down like these people will cheer for your successes. There are setbacks in living with this. There are also moments of triumph. And you want people to be there for both. You want people to look at you and say, yeah, what you're going through is really hard. I'm here for you. And you want people to say, wow, I know that what you have done here was really difficult and you did it, and to celebrate with you. Okay. Number six is make a crisis plan. Sooner the better. My personal crisis plan, we in my support system, we use an emoji system. We actually use hearts, like those little heart emojis. So we use green, yellow, red. If someone checks in with me, if they know I'm having a rough time, if I'm displaying symptoms more potently than I guess other times, I will send a heart. If I can't directly say, here's what I need, here's where I'm at, here are the heart system, like it comes into place. Green heart means I'm hanging in there. If I send a heart, generally it means things aren't ideal, but green means I'm hanging in there. Thanks for checking on me. Please keep checking on me. Yellow means, hey, I need extra support and monitoring today. Maybe it's better that I'm not by myself, or maybe check in on me, or someone in my network check in on me every hour or so just to touch base, see what I need. And then the third one is the red heart, which is implement crisis plan. The crisis plan often, um, at that point, if it's red, it maybe means let's talk to my provider. Let's reach out to my therapist, send a message to my psychiatrist. At a certain point, if it comes to this, maybe it's time to discuss going to the hospital. I have very much benefited from having a crisis plan in place. It also means that I have a peace of mind knowing that if and honestly when crisis comes up, I don't have to think on my feet. I don't have to um, I don't necessarily need the ability to directly spell out exactly where I'm at, what I need. I don't have to decide. Those things are decided for me. I can use these symbols and I can get the help that I need and that I need in that moment. So yes, make a crisis plan with I would say different tiers like my heart system. You might need different tiers or levels of care. All right. The last one here, number 7. I'm going to cry. Maybe. But it's something I wanted to end with because it is maybe just as important as everything else I've said. Schizoaffective disorder is a tough thing. I'll say it. I'll say it every day to anyone who needs to hear it. But that being said, you can and still will have a beautiful life, even with this disorder, even with this diagnosis. I didn't think my life was going to be as beautiful as it is. At the time I was diagnosed, I was in one of the darkest times of my life, if not the darkest. It was hard. I was lonely. I was struggling. I didn't think I was going to live to age 30 at all. And I'm here. I have worked like hell to get here. People in my life who love me have worked like hell as well to be there for me. I love my life. I'm grateful for it. I've come a long way. Things don't look the way I always dreamed they would, but they're honestly more beautiful in ways I could not have predicted. So, yeah, there's going to be hard times. There are hard times behind you, there are hard times ahead. There are also really beautiful and amazing moments coming up for you, things that you honestly cannot imagine. And while this disorder, I'll say it again, it is really tough, you're tougher and you can do this. There's help out there, there's support out there. You're strong. You can do this one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, whatever you need to do to break that up. Life is going to be different than you thought, but it's also going to be worth it. It's going to be worth living, and there are going to be some really beautiful moments. So, if that's where you're at, if you have just been diagnosed, you're not alone. And I wish you all the best as you navigate this. And I'm sending you strength. All right. Well, thanks for watching.